Welcome, everybody, to episode 9 of the Fresh Towels Podcast, live here from a rainy, snowy New York. And when it rains and snows, I bring in the good friends to the podcast here today with the sizzling hot Tom Delgado.
That's right.
You got your look is ever changing. We were talking about it on the way in. I'm like, I wonder what Tom's going to be bringing to the table today.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've been stopped asking if I'm going for the Forrest Gump running across the country.
Dude,
look.
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Even the hat leans into that a little bit.
I know. And I've been wearing this hat for a few hours, so I'm not taking it off because it would just look ridiculous. So.
Do you have Forrest Gump? He wore the first Nike sneakers ever, right?
That's right.
I didn't check out your shoes. I don't know if you're wearing Sperry's. I would ruin it.
No, I'm not. I'm wearing Sauconys. Actually, this is where we mentioned the podcast sponsor of Saucony. No, I'm just kidding.
That's not how you pronounce it either.
Isn't it? Is it Saucony? What is it? Saucony?
It's definitely not Sauconys.
It's 100% not Saucony.
What is it?
It's definitely not.
Whatever it is, it's not that.
Oh, you guys are coming from a place of real information.
Well, you didn't go. You didn't get them from the Saucony store. That sounds like an eBay purchase because no one at the store is calling them Sauconys.
I actually just got suckered into a Facebook ad. To be honest, I've
been buying more stuff on Facebook.
It really they got our number, man. They got our number.
I ordered something. I ordered a studio light. When we got the studio, I ordered a light. That I thought was going to be great, and I got it from a Facebook ad marketplace. Yeah. So it said it's going to take 2 weeks to arrive. I waited 2 weeks, and nothing shows up. And then 2 weeks turned into 2 months. Finally, it says, your light's been delivered, and it came here to the studio. I show up to the studio, and I shit you not, the size of the package was this big.
It was a tiny light?
It was this big. I opened it up, and it was a small wooden mannequin.
What?
A small little wooden mannequin.
You ordered a light.
I ordered a light, and it sent me a small wooden mannequin
I
character.
can see how those two would get mixed up, I guess.
So, and then I started Googling. I'm like, what is going on? Like, how did I get this sent to me? And so there's all these Facebook marketplace scams from overseas where like they take all the photos from real products, they post it up for a similar price, and then when you order that thing, they just send you a strange object. It could be anything, like some home decor thing. This small little wooden character thing, I think, is meant for people who sew.
Well, I don't understand. So they send you the little wooden mannequin as like a gotcha. It's like the
They
idea?
send it to you, and then they know you're going to follow up because this is clearly not right.
Thing, right.
Then you send them an email, and I'm like, hey, I got this wooden figurine, and they go, oh, so sorry. All you have to do is send it back to us in China. And then you look up how much it costs to ship to China, and it costs like hundreds of dollars to ship to China, so you end up just keeping it. It's a whole scam.
Right. But then why send the mannequin? That's what I'm confused about.
Because I think if it completes the transaction. So I think that there's something that goes to your law background. Maybe there's something in
they teach us about wooden mannequin. They teach us about specific wooden mannequin law. Yeah, right.
But I think there's something about like if they complete the transaction, it's not like they didn't send it to you. They send something
the wrong
incorrectly.
thing, and okay, right. Okay.
So and then they make it so they only dabble with objects. Like this studio light was, around $100. So they know that if the shipping matches the price of the object, no one's ever going to send it back.
Nothing like a good scam story. I think that's always interesting to hear the interesting scams there are.
Well, the joke's on you, China, because what I did was I took that little
the joke's on you, China.
The whole nation.
All the jokes are on you, China, until we're taken over by China.
This podcast is actually sponsored by China.
Yeah.
I took that little wooden figurine and then I started mailing it to people. And so
that's amazing.
It travels around the country. It's been to...
It's like a garden gnome that you just take pictures
What's
in front of.
Like the Silk Stanley? What's his name? That's not right.
Paul Stanley from Kiss. That's what you're thinking of.
What's the name of the thing the kids do? Silky Stanley? Flat Stanley.
Flat Stanley.
You ever seen this?
No.
It's like it's a Flat Stanley is something in kids' classrooms, and it goes to different kids' houses, and you like take pictures with it or something like that.
Looks like it was a book.
Yeah.
And then now it's
I'm the only person
an
who's
obscure
never
reference
heard of this.
on a podcast.
Well, I did
not
for
so
this.
obscure. You guys all know it except for me.
This wooden thing, it now goes from place to place, and people like take pictures with it at the Niagara Falls or Disney World.
That's really funny,
It's been to like 17 countries.
Well, I will say this on the upside, you got something for your money.
I did. I got a wooden.
There's obviously the classic scam of give me your money and thank you for your money, and
you get nothing.
Yeah, because that happened to me. I remember I ordered a Led Zeppelin box set, all Led Zeppelin's albums, the whole thing. I still remember.
Did you really?
Never got it.
Never would have guessed based on looking at you that you bought a box set of any Led Zeppelin.
More of a Fish guy, huh? More like Fish or Grateful Dead.
Led Zeppelin's whole catalog?
The whole thing, all 10
how many
albums.
10 albums.
All of them. And I ordered them. I never got them. Yeah.
To this day?
To this day.
Supply chain.
It's been like, what has it been, like 17 years, I guess? They were still together when I ordered it. No,
you ordered them on cassette.
Exactly, a Betamax. But no, it was a long time ago, and I'd never got them.
Did you follow up? Maybe they'll send you a wooden statue.
They didn't send me anything. I would have taken a wooden statue at that point. I'd be like, all right, fine. And learn your lesson. But now I'm just left holding the bag, you know?
Did you ever get CDs or did you ever?
I didn't get anything.
This itch has never been
scratched?
scratched?
This is back when people were still buying CDs. I was still buying CDs. You know?
I read an article yesterday that it's the first time since 1987 that record sales outsold CD sales this year. Isn't that crazy how things turn around?
Crazy. Wow, yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, my mom was...
And they probably outnumbered them with 18 records sold.
Yeah, there's
total.
not many.
Yeah, it's still not a lot. Right.
I remember when I was a kid, my mom... this is like late 90s when she was fascinated that like bell bottoms came back.
That's a very loose use of the word kid too, by the way. Late 90s,
What?
You were probably like a teenager?
No, late 90s I was a preteen.
You were preteen in the late 90s?
I was born in 86.
Oh, come on. You were not. Late 90s, you were a teenager, man.
Late 90s, it could be 97 to 2000.
All right,
97, I'm a preteen.
All right.
I'm thinking
I'll
97.
play your game, young man.
What were you in
I was in
90,
high school.
97?
I was in high school in the late 90s. I'm class of 2001.
High school?
Yeah.
You always fascinate me. You're older than you think.
Thanks.
No, that's a compliment. Do you look good?
Yeah. I was class of 2001, so I was in high school. I was in high school late 90s. Yeah.
I was terribly fashioned in high school.
Terrible, like bad clothes.
I just feel like that was a bad time.
Yeah, it was real bad. It was
high school,
ugly,
like early
time.
2000s.
Ugly times. It was like
good.
that was like the new metal. That was like Linkin Park time. That was like the boy band time. That
will never come back. Out of all
Doc
the fashion
Martens
things
and all that.
Fashion things that will never come back.
Don't say that.
What?
Don't say that anything won't come back.
I will stamp it as 100% certainty.
All right.
Jinko jeans.
You heard it here. This guy's thinking.
Jinko jeans are on their way back.
They're on their way back.
They're
They're
currently
not.
still for sale.
No,
going
they're
for
not.
anywhere. I'm looking at it right now. $135 to up to $250. $225.
Haven't you seen the pants that people are wearing now? I mean, when I moved here, it was skinny jeans was the thing. And now everyone's wearing the baggy pants.
No.
They come
Jinko
up to
jeans with like the characters on them.
Buddy, I'm looking
How
at them
much
right
are they?
now. 100 up to 100 and $200.
American?
Yeah, American.
No.
Listen, man.
Not worth it.
You got to get
I'll tell you right
past
now,
it.
you walk around with a Jenko hoodie on, you're the man.
Yeah,
Look at
you're
these
Jinko
things.
hoodies?
Yeah.
Listen,
Jenko
man.
hoodies, massive shorts.
I feel like that
I'm
was
going to tell you right now, they got a couple chicks in Jenko pants. It's a good-looking pant.
No.
It is a good-looking pant.
Too wide.
They're not too wide. You know, you're not looking at the girl I'm looking at. So
flip it.
maybe if you weren't such a sexist pig.
Yeah. You heard it here.
If they're doing different designs, then it's not a true Jinko jean.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, no, it's...
Listen, you gotta accept it. I mean, we're getting to that age where you just gotta accept that things come around full circle. We've lived long enough to see things come around full circle.
I'm trying to think what else would be if I was surprised on something that would come around fashion-wise from the early 2000s.
Things are coming back around. The Doc Martens, people are wearing Doc Martens again. People are wearing like the sunglasses that were in back then. All this stuff is coming back.
We spoke about it on a previous episode, but I never think. Do you think the boy band flip, the hair flip? I did that.
You mean like the bowl cut?
It was a gel down flip up.
Oh yeah, that'll come. I mean, I don't even know if that ever really went away.
That definitely.
I think the
went
frosted tips went away. That might come back, but
frosted
all that
tips.
stuff, yeah.
I tried to dye my hair when I was in 8th grade with lemon juice.
Yeah, that was the thing. Lemon juice.
I lemon juiced my hair because I wanted to look like I was an LFO.
LFO. That's right. LFO. Speaking of Abercrombie and Fitch, right? They're the Abercrombie and Fitch song, right?
I know. Abercrombie and Fitch won't come back. They're done.
I don't know, man. I've learned to never say never with anything. I think everything can come back. I think.
Do you think you're fashionable?
No.
You never even thought about
literally
it?
zero argument from anyone in this room.
Yeah. I think
it was the perfect silence.
I think it's your podcast. I mean, I want to just get past this point. There's really no point to even argue it. No, I'm not. I don't think so.
Do you think you've ever had a point in your life that you wanted to dive into like fashions?
No.
If you took all the money that you spent in your life, what percentage has been allocated towards fashion?
I probably go shopping for clothes maybe once a year. twice a year.
you
It's
go
usually
to-
when I go to outlets or something, and I'll buy
Outlet-
I bought 2 pairs of pants. That's good. That's my haul for this year. 2 pairs of
Do
pants.
you have
and
a
shirt.
go-to store? Like I'm
The-
J. Crew Factory. Forget about it.
Factory outlets,
you'll
man.
lose me inside of a
You
J.
got
Crew
to go to
Factory.
the factory outlets. That's the best way to do it. I'm from Florida, so I mean, you're like, that's where you have high school graduation is at a factory outlet. but yeah, I grew up going to factory outlets, and that's where I get all my clothes. And there's no reason to pay retail. Let's not be
why
suckers
not?
unless you're Bill Gates or something. What are you doing? And so just go
Full
to the
retail.
outlets. Yeah,
I'll even dip my toe into a TJ Maxx.
yeah. TJ
I
Maxx.
like rifling through the racks.
You go to TJ Maxx for like the basketball shorts, underwear, socks. That's where you get all that stuff. And then you get your factory outlets for the pants and shirts and stuff.
There's literally no reason to pay retail for socks and underwear.
No, it's stupid.
It's impossible.
Yeah, it's
Even the great brands, the great brands of men's briefs are Calvin Klein, always on deep discount at a
Yep.
TJ Maxx.
Yep.
You just got to go out there and find it.
Yep.
The TJ Maxx here in the city is under a bridge, which is true.
Yeah.
It's under the Manhattan Bridge?
They have,
Queensboro
they have a
Bridge.
few.
Queensboro.
They have a few,
Yeah.
and they also there's more now. They have a few. There's one in Soho. They're all over, and they also have the Burlington Co-Factory. That's another place you get that kind of
Would
stuff.
you rather shop at a TJ Maxx or a Marshalls?
I guess I don't know. I'm pretty at that point. Brand loyalty goes out the window. You just give me a factory outlet or a second whatever. I'm fine with whichever.
Both
one.
of them are or Burlington Co-Factory is, I think, the least organized of all of them.
I mean, they're all a mess. They're all a mess. There's I mean, I don't not really a huge fan of his comedy, I guess, but Sebastian Maniscalco has a funny joke where he's like, the whole place looks like when people shop there, they look at an item, they're like, huh. I don't think so. And then they just chuck it across. And then he does this whole crow hop and he's like, that's how they put it back.
Yeah.
Everything is just thrown away.
It's
Thrown
like
away.
you're shopping in Beirut.
You shop yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. You ever been to a TJ Maxx?
Well,
Like
to be
that-
fair, it is Ross Dress for Less.
Is it
It's
Ross?
a classic bit.
Oh,
great
it's so
bit.
funny.
Yeah.
I think it made me laugh. I was like,
Ross Dress for Less. It's
Yeah.
good. It's a good bit.
but yeah, he does this whole crow hop and he's like, it looks like the place everyone shops like this, and they just toss the whole thing. But that is a whole mess. All of them are a mess.
They have there's a Burlington Co-Factory in Union Square in New York, and you have to go up like 17 flights of stairs to get up to this thing. It's like you have to go through all these obstacles to get there, and then you're like, I need a T-shirt, and it's a row of T-shirts that's like 3 football lengths long. That there's just no organization by brand, color, nothing.
But
You're
that's
just
also why you
rifling.
get to. That's why it becomes cheaper. That's why it's cheaper because you don't have like 10 people there whose job is to just fold things after you rifle through it. It's just so you just go up there.
I got a leather jacket from Burlington Co-Factory that I wore on stage once, and the arms fell off.
They just fell off while you're on stage. That's great.
I got a Burlington Co-Factory leather jacket, and I remember there was another comedian who came up to me and goes, man, that's a beautiful jacket. Where'd you get that? I was literally $7 at Burlington Co-Factory.
$7.
It was so cheap. The arms fell off, and then I was on the road when the arms fell off. And I was about to do a gig, so I dove into the drawer, and this hotel had one of the old sewing kits. I don't think they have sewing kits anymore at a lot of hotels used to have them.
Yeah. And
So I
Gideon's
went-
Bibles.
I went into YouTube, searched how to sew something, and until its official retirement, I had this black leather jacket with sewn on red stitching. Like I wasn't even smart enough to stitch from the inside, so the stitching, it was like a Frankenstein arm red stitch thing. I kept it for years.
Well, that's a whole nother style, man. You're in another level there. That's almost
It was like very
a
unique.
retro hipster type thing.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I did a show. I wanted to read this to you because I think that you'll enjoy it. So, and I went on a massive tangent, by the way, of tangent rabbit hole. I was going down a rabbit hole last week of like funny TripAdvisor reviews. And I do a show in New York once a month at a hotel. And so I'm waiting for the show to start, and I start reading the hotel's TripAdvisor reviews. This is a real review I'm going to read to you. This is posted recently for the Moxie Hotel in the East Village. I'm going to read this to you. And then I have a couple of other ones for you. But this is a real TripAdvisor review. It made me laugh out loud. Okay. So first of all, this TripAdvisor review is 5 stars. That's a good place to start. And the title of it is The Best Valentine's Day Thus Far. This is a real TripAdvisor review.
For the Moxie Hotel.
For the Moxie Hotel. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but essentially they get to the hotel late, and they're very impressed. The GM got to check them in. They have to wait for their room, and they love the lobby, and they're raving about everything. So now let's get to the point where they get to their room. And this is where things really heat up in this 5-star review. Here we go. This is real. The short wait was well worth it. We were so giddy to enter our room to find a personalized message on the mirror, heart confetti, red and pink balloons, and an assortment of sweet treats. We had a high-floor room with an amazing floor-to-ceiling view of the city. It was the most perfect setting for my Puerto Rican poppy to beat it up until the room stank.
Stop.
We'll be back.
Wow.
We'll be back is my favorite part. This is literally word for word. It's the perfect setting for my Puerto Rican poppy to beat it up until the room stank.
Wow.
So I had so many questions about this review, and it's 5 stars.
Right.
So they had a wonderful time
Yeah.
there. So my theory on this is that the girlfriend wrote this review. It was like 90% done. It was like, I got to go to the bathroom. Then the Puerto Rican poppy comes in, puts in this line, and then fires it off. It's the only explanation.
That's an interesting theory. I don't know. I think that I guess I'd give her more credit than that. I'll give her more credit.
Do you think that was just really completed her time there?
Yeah, or they wrote it together.
It's so detailed. I mean,
That's like a it's great misdirect.
It's just like
That's
it's a great misdirect. The high floor with amazing floor to ceiling video reviews.
I think we just stumbled into a new comedic element of our lives. Is that that anyone can leave a review for anywhere. They don't verify that you've been there.
There's no verification.
Why aren't we just writing reviews for
Absolutely.
everything?
Well, 100%.
Because we have things to do.
No, you don't.
I have nothing to do.
If you have nothing to do, maybe. I think that's like, I agree. Like, I think it's funny. If you go through, the Amazon reviews can be so funny, like product reviews, the way people like write these paragraphs for just like a refrigerator magnet or something. People really get lost in them. It's like it's a whole rabbit hole.
I feel like people are very binary on their reviews for hotels or for products. Like, to your point, I don't think that people are going to spend their time if they've just got what they expected.
Yeah,
like
right.
You're writing something when you love something or you absolutely hate
even
something.
more on top of that, people often tend to write things more when they don't like them.
For
just
sure.
like human nature. It's like, I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. I've never written a review, but screw these people or screw this thing or whatever. And most people don't think like, oh, that was a good restaurant. I can't wait to get home so I can write something about it. No one thinks that. No one's that generous anyway.
I wish they had TripAdvisor reviews for just full states. Like, you just go on, you could read imagine the TripAdvisor reviews for like Florida.
Well, they basically have that. I forget who the comedian is. There's a couple comedians that have bits like this, but they have a bit about how people leave reviews for like the Brooklyn Bridge. They leave reviews for like the Statue of Liberty. They leave reviews for the Grand Canyon. Like, how do you review things that are I don't know, like landmarks or natural made wonders or whatever, natural wonders.
So we are thinking on the same page, as we always do. So I read this review, and then I was like, I wonder what else I could find that would be interesting reviews for New York. So I went in and I found some 1-star reviews of the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, boy. Sure. Let's hear it.
This is Joni. Joni writes, she's visiting from the UK, and this is a 1-star review of the Statue of Liberty. One of our most iconic monuments, not only in New York, but America. Okay, so Joni goes and she says, it's just a statue in the middle of the water, and it's not as big as we thought.
That was it.
That's it. That's 1 star. She came all the way from the UK. She goes, it's just a statue in the middle of the water. 1 star. So I'm trying to imagine what Joni did. So she comes to New York. She jumps on the boat. She takes a tour. And then after she sees the Statue of Liberty, she doesn't go about her day. She jumps on the interwebs and is like, I need to tell other people about this experience.
Well, she probably finished her day and just reviewed everything she saw. So she's like, and also the 42nd Street subway stop, not the best subway stop. I stopped at this hot dog cart, not great. Like everything. Those are the people who just have to comment on everything.
She's commenting on like 6 train stops in the city.
Exactly.
Never stop at Spring Street.
The 3rd car in the 6th train was especially smelly or whatever. Like everything has to be completely.
Her whole day is reviewed.
Yeah, right.
Here's one that threw me for a loop. This one's from September 2018. This is Tyler. Tyler wrote, it was a great tour of the Statue of Liberty. You hear so much about it, and to actually see it was great. Also, to learn about it was amazing of all the people that were involved. 1 star. What? I was reading. I'm like, what? It sounded like he loved
That's
it.
hilarious. Well,
1 star.
In all fairness, 1 star is more than 0 stars.
Zeros. I don't know if that's an option.
Yeah. Oh,
But
okay.
Tyler was like, I really loved it, but it's just not doing it for me.
Yeah.
Do you have my personal favorite on your list from Suki?
Suki? No, read it.
Suki?
Oh, I do have it.
Okay, go for it. Yeah.
What will you take it?
November 2020. Why is she green?
That's the stat for the Statue of Liberty.
Out of all the colors the person who created this beautiful lady could chose, they went for green. If she was pink, she'd get more attention. Period. With a T.
She's calling for a full color change.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's the bronze babe. She can't be out there any other color than green.
Well, she's actually not bronze. I hate to say it.
Suki,
What is she? Yeah, you're a tour guide.
She's copper. That's
Copper.
why she's
That's what
green.
I meant.
That's why she's
copper.
green.
I meant copper.
The copper cutie. How about that?
Copper cutie. Yeah,
Copper
yeah.
Cutie. And I think she was from the UK as well. Suki was from the UK. People in England are just a little bitter. They lost.
Yeah, I think that's true.
And
also,
Suki came
it's also
over.
it's French. The Statue of Liberty was made by the French, so maybe that's also their
It
rivalry.
adds complicating
thing.
the whole thing.
Complication for the Brits.
Suki. I mean, Suki was not as disappointed as a person who just thought it was a statue in the middle of the water.
Well, maybe that person, I don't know. Maybe they watched Ghostbusters 2 where the statue walks through the water and they thought it was like an actual moving thing.
Do you want to hear where else Suki has left reviews?
I would love to know.
Suki reviewed Big Ben
I would love to hear this.
in London. The topic: Ben is a boring name. Who went to all these great lengths to build a ginormous clock only to go and name it Ben? Personally, I think this clock should be a female name. Ginor.
That person's definitely
Ginor?
trolling. That's
Suki is
what
not
we
real.
call a troll
Yeah.
in the biz.
Yeah, that is. They need to get some other hobbies. But so funny that these TripAdvisor reviews. I'm going to dive in to do some more monuments in future episodes as well. But it's pretty funny how people will find anything to complain about these days.
I mean, you give everyone a voice. I mean, sometimes you got to take the good with the bad because you give everyone a voice, and you get some people who don't really have any business on there talking about stuff.
So like when I first met you, and like many of us, like when I first moved to New York, and I was, it's almost 10 years now, which is crazy. But when I first moved to the city, I worked in luxury hospitality, and hence kind of like my little nod at the show. And I know when I first met you, you were a tour guide here in the city.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because what do you think when people come to the city? What do you think from your experience working with tourists all those years? What do you think their number one mistake is when people come to New York? As far as like how they experience it.
I think the number one mistake is people don't leave the tourist areas. They don't leave Times Square. They don't leave like the main parts where the tourists just hang out the whole time.
Do you think there's a part of, let's take Manhattan just to keep it concise, but do you think there's a part of the city that doesn't get seen that you think like people are totally missing a major part
I think
of it?
the outer boroughs. I think when you don't go to Queens, you don't go to parts of Brooklyn, you're missing New York. Like, I mean,
You can skip Staten Island though.
yeah. Notice I didn't stay Staten Island.
Staten Island is-
but no, even Staten Island's got its charm in different parts that you could see. But I think definitely in places like Queens and Brooklyn and even parts of the Bronx, like you're missing kind of the New York experience. I mean, if New York was just Manhattan today, it would be unlivable. It's too expensive. None of the artists, none of the immigrants, no one lives in Manhattan anymore. It all is outside the city because you can't afford it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the food culture has left Manhattan as well. And as someone who's been around and explored, for example, Staten Island's a perfect example. Like when I moved to New York, my understanding was like there's going to be a beautiful Italian deli on every corner.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before, I think.
Yeah.
And like you come to Manhattan and there just isn't. No. Like there's a couple of places. Like I walk down, I make a point to walk down to this deli called Facchio's in the West Village and they make beautiful Italian sandwiches, right? But like I have to like go way out of my way to go down there and get that.
Yeah.
But then you go to a place like Staten Island and that like Italian American sandwich culture is like thriving there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't exist in Manhattan at all.
No, we can't. It's too expensive.
Too
Too expensive here. Yeah, and Faico's is actually like that's like a landmark. Like they've been there forever, and it's one of like the places that they're going to keep there because it is kind of part of the neighborhood. But yeah, you can't afford it anymore. There's no place like that in Manhattan anymore. There are places like that in Queens. There are places like that in Brooklyn, but not as many.
When I go down to get sandwiches, I love a deli that's like just a little bit rude. Just like a little bit, and they're actually pretty nice in there. But they got a guy in there who's probably been working at this deli for like 40 years, and he's at the door just hands you a number, and the way he does it, I'm like, I feel like this is gonna be a great sandwich. I could be blindfolded, and the way he talks to me, I'm like, the sandwich is gonna be great.
Right.
It's, hey, how you doing? This is a number, you're gonna just go over here, number 43. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm like, amazing meats.
Yeah.
It's got to be amazing.
Yeah, because he doesn't need to try very hard. He's like, the food speaks for itself. So
Food speaks
if
for
it's been
itself.
around that long and he's an asshole to everybody, then it's good.
I had a bagel shop guy once. I asked for a bagel sandwich with like a turkey, bacon, whatever on a bagel, and I asked for a schmear instead of cheese or mayo, like you put on a regular. And he basically kicked me out of the place. He's like, "Are you out of your fucking mind? How dare you this and that?" And I go, "It's a number 4 on your menu." Right. And he looked up. He goes, "Oh, I guess you're right." Like he had no idea that I was ordering
so
off of his menu, and then he apologized and gave me the sandwich.
That's
He was so irate about it.
Yeah.
A lot of like the delis in New York are now kind of like hodgepodge different things. Like even the deli that's on my block, you can get like halal chicken and rice and bagels and and then chicken parm sandwiches. It's like all over the place. I'd prefer to have just one thing, whether it be a chicken and rice spot, which are some unbelievable places in New York, or give me like a great bagel spot, which are obviously great spots.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you what is it? You're 2,000 feet wide, 2 feet deep. That's not good. You want someone who specializes. That's all.
I don't want a Cheesecake Factory menu when I go into a deli.
No.
There's another thing that in New York delis too that's so funny, and like every single one has it, which is there is a sandwich board menu, which was printed with intention. And then there's always like computer paper with add-on additions that just stay there forever. It's like the menu, and then everything else is just like pasted on, you know, with these different sandwiches they're making up along the way.
Or the funny thing is the prices too. Like they'll have like little pieces of paper over the prices because they've gone up so many times. You're like, oh, I wish I knew what the price was under that because I have to pay now the new price. And they always just updating it, but they don't update the menu. They just update the price by putting the little pieces of paper with marker on them.
There's so much to see and do in New York. I feel like people, when they come in, they get overwhelmed, which I felt like that for probably the first 2 years I lived here.
Yeah.
You kind of...
Well, you could feel that your whole life here.
Yeah, there's so many...
Yeah.
But you've done a really... you and your channel and what you've done with... of exploring like some of these areas that people haven't seen, because I think New York City is it's a city within its walls, so to speak. You know, like you can't just be like, oh, this is like a you know, we do have beautiful parks and such too, but everything, there's so many stories within the buildings that
for sure.
are meaningful.
Yeah.
And things change over time, you know, so it's you could have one thing that's been 10 different things, which is really neat.
Yeah.
What neighborhood in... So you said Queens. Like, what part would you give advice for someone to go check out Queens if there was somewhere?
I mean, I guess the tricky thing with Queens is that it's so huge. I mean, I think one of the reasons why people tend to gravitate towards Manhattan is it's just easier to navigate.
Sure.
I mean, Queens is almost 5 times the size of Manhattan. That's insane. Like, how do you even begin to explore that? So I guess the difference is, I mean, it's funny because I used to give tours to people to, you know, and I'll still give some every now and then. People reach out to me. I was actually out there today, and, you know, they go out there and they're like, huh, this isn't what I thought it was. Like, they thought it was going to be like, and here to the left, you have the oldest city, and here to the right is where Washington. It's not like that. You go out there for the vibe of the place. You're walking around, you're like, man, I'm the only white person here, you know, or whatever. You go there to see where all the immigrants live, where all the artists live, where all that stuff. And you go to neighborhoods and you just hang out in the neighborhood. That's how you would experience it. So one of my favorite neighborhoods in Queens is Jackson Heights. I think Jackson Heights is one of the coolest places in the country.
I don't think I've ever been to Jackson Heights.
I mean, you're missing out, man. If you're a food guy,
what would I find there?
Indian, you'd find Colombian, you'd find Mexican, you'd find, you know, Momos, Nepalese, you'd find whatever, anything. It's the most diverse place in New York is Jackson Heights.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's like in a place that's less than half the size of Central Park, you have 167 languages spoken. That's insane. Like, wrap your head around that.
Yeah, that's insane.
And you have all the different food. I mean, Bourdain went out there. All these people go out there because this is where the immigrants eat. This isn't like Asian, you know, Ecuadorian fusion with a hint of truffle. It's not that crap. It's like, this is the stuff they're eating before they go to work. This is the stuff they pick up to go to work. It's like the real deal, you know?
Yeah, it's like...
And you're not paying $30 for, you know, an appetizer like you do in Manhattan. So, can you tell I'm a little bitter? Can you tell I don't make enough money to live in Manhattan? But yeah.
They do the Momo crawl out
The
there.
Momo
I've been
crawl.
there a couple
Yeah.
times.
Momo,
The
like the
Momo.
little dumplings.
Yeah, they do it once a year. There's a Momo, an actual Momo, like a festival. It's
Yeah.
like called the Momo Crawl, and they
I had my
bounce around.
first Momo recently, and I was like, "Where have these been my whole life?"
They're out there.
They're little Nepalese dumplings.
Yep,
Yeah,
they're dumplings.
they're unbelievable too.
They're really good.
They're
Yeah.
delicious.
They're very good.
And if you sweet talk them, though, they might throw you an extra one or two.
I go to Kati roll. Have you ever been to a Kati roll?
Kati roll's great.
Kati roll, it's like Indians, like a
Oh yeah,
roll-up.
right.
But they sell momos there. Mumus. What are they?
Momos.
Momos.
Yeah.
I got momos from there, and I was like shook. I was
Yeah.
like, these are delicious.
No, they're incredible. There's this one place that's in the back of a cell phone store there, and Bourdain went and visited. Like you literally walk in, you walk by all the cell phone cases and all this stuff to the back of this hallway, and there's a little like Momo stand, and people will go from all over the country to eat at this place.
It's amazing that type of thing gets permitted.
Yeah,
Like I wonder, like what the guy has to go and inspect that. He's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, as long as you keep, the momos 10 feet away from the cell phones.
It's amazing you think that it's permitted.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
probably is.
Exactly.
I'm not saying
Right.
it's not, but
Yeah.
buddy, you ever try to get a permit? It's not easy.
Yeah, a lot of things they just set up shop and they just let it fall, chips fall where they may. And it's funny because in neighborhoods like that, the things tend to get policed a little less. Like if you set up shop without permit in the middle of Central Park, you're going to get shut down pretty quick. But if you're in the middle of Jackson Heights or you're 20 minutes away from the train by a walk, no one gives a crap.
I read something that is it true that like all these people in the subways who are singing songs and doing stuff, they have to have a permit for that too?
Yes, they do have to have permits, but it depends on where you set up shop as to how strict they are. If you're going to set up in the middle of Bethesda Terrace in Central Park, for example, you better believe people are going to ask you for your permit.
Really?
Yeah, because it's a highly coveted spot. You're going to make a lot of money there. So you can't just, they make sure to like...
When they give you a permit, do you think that they give you a specific location that you can do it?
I don't know exactly how that works. I do know that for the MTA, they have like an artist resident type program. You have to audition for it.
Stop.
Yeah,
You have to
there's auditions.
audition to perform in the subways?
Well, for their certain spots, and they give you certain spots and times and stuff like that. You have to audition. Yeah.
I
It's
mean, I
kinda
will
crazy.
say
You
that
can go
I've seen-
online and see all. They have a list literally of all the people that have gotten their permits. So you can like look through and be like, oh, this person looks cool. Let me reach out to them to play my bar mitzvah or
No.
whatever. Yeah.
It's like America's Got Talent
It
down
is.
there.
It really is. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, you see, they have videos of these auditions, and there's people like waiting with their violins and everything for their turn to go up in front of this like panel of people. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's kinda
But I
cool.
have seen some pretty wild performances down
Yeah.
there. And the 6 train, or not the 6 train, but the Union Square stop.
I was about to say that 6 train. That wasn't a performance. That was some guy who was just. I think
There's
that
no
was-
permits there.
Yeah, there's no permit there.
My
In fact,
favorite
it's the
of the-
opposite.
Oh, I mean, the Union Square station perform. I've seen some like straight up bands and banging
Yeah.
stuff like that are unbelievable.
Yeah, of course.
So it does kind of make sense. And even kids though, there's no age discrepancy or age. Like I've seen like 6-year-old pianists out there.
Yeah.
Permits. America's Got Talent.
6-year-olds can play the piano.
I wonder who the Simon Cowell is of the New York City.
I'd love to think that it's all conductors. Like
Train
they're like, oh, you're a
conductors?
train conductor. You could do this too, right? That's also music,
Right.
and it's just the guy from the end train, just like, stand clear
Yeah.
of the
doors.
cello. It's
Yeah,
just
right,
the same guy
right.
screaming like, your bag's blocking the door, but he's yelling at your kid about why they suck at piano.
I mean, there's got to be a dick on the America's Got Talent subway committee.
I thought you were going to say there's got to be a dick on the subway train. I'm like, there's plenty of
Oh,
dicks
yeah,
on the
they-
subway
there-
train.
I saw
there
three
are-
this
I
morning.
saw a few this morning. Plenty of those. On the subway committee, you're
The
saying?
subway committee who like picks out the performers. There's got to be a guy who's just like
Like the Simon
the
Cowell.
Simon Cowell of performers.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, I hope I don't get Jerry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't even know. I'm not sure how coveted, but they make good money. You'd be surprised. Like they make like, I mean, especially they make more than comedians who are starting now. That's for sure. Yeah.
And
And
the,
comedians that are 15 years in.
the performers or the people who do acrobats on the subway cars, those are not permitted. Those
No,
can't be.
I don't even think you're technically allowed to do
It
that.
can't be
Yeah,
allowed to
yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
Whenever I go in a subway car and there's someone's like, oh yeah, move back for the performance, I'm like, this motherfucker's gonna kick me in the head.
Yeah.
It makes me nuts when they get mad.
Yeah.
That you're like not paying attention. It's like, buddy,
Yeah, it's
I've
not-
been in the city for 10 hours. I'm trying to get home.
Right.
Yeah.
You're
If
also
you
like,
do
I've
this
been
in my car, I'd
Right.
be equally as upset.
Well, you're also like, I've been in the city for 10 years. I've seen this 20,000
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
But at the same time, part of me is tempted to feel that immediately. But then I check myself. I'm like, you know what? This is kind of cool, though. At the end of the day, like, you don't see this in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You know?
That's true.
So I part of me is like, all right, let people have their fun. But, and what I try to do is when I see live performers and subway performers, I try to always give them money if I like what they're doing.
Sure.
So as a way to like kind of vote with my dollar, I'm like, this is good. Let's keep this going because,
You want to hear three of the prohibited activities as a musician? You can't impede transit service or the movement of passengers.
Okay.
And here's two different lengths, and this is why I think that it's complete horseshit. You can't be within 25 feet of a station booth, fare sales, or vending machines, but you have to stay 50 feet away from transit authority offices. They're like, you can get close to the vending machines, but stay the fuck away from our offices. Like they're like, push you away, dude.
Why do you think they want them away from machines? Like piss
because then
their money
you're
out?
like peddling a little bit.
Yeah, they're
like
it's like asking someone for money at an ATM.
You think if they had this whole program though, they would maybe spend a little money of put a stage out, or like maybe make it a thing.
Yeah,
like,
put a stage. Put a stage, put some like blue lights, get some smoke machines, you know.
No, but like if they had in the Union Square station, for example, like I see people performing in the same spot every single time.
But that's actually like those are the ones that are permitted. So like those spots, a lot of times they have them designated for
But if they had a
those
permanent
artists.
spot, I'm not talking about lights.
Oh, for the
and stuff.
permanent spots.
But if they had like even a 4-foot little, 4 inches high, just a little riser that is like this.
Well,
is
you
a
know what they do is
space.
they put usually a banner with the name of the person and the performer behind them. Or
you think for
something.
one second, Jiggy, that if they put a little 4x4 stage, that it's not going to be just covered in people sleeping on it?
What would be the difference between sleeping on that and sleeping on the ground?
Well, then where are the performers going to play? In a piss puddle? No, they're going to have to. You think they're going to clean under that stage? It's despicable. It's just like this new train that they're going to put out with no doors between.
Yeah,
that big snake
I've been
train.
on one.
Just one bum takes a dump in the back.
the
whole
stinks.
train is going to smell.
That's what they do in the UK.
They have
they have
this through. They have not thought this through.
They have pass-throughs in the UK.
Yeah, but people in UK have respect for each other.
I was on the UK, the Tube. It,
All
like
right,
you could
calm down.
on the Tube.
Okay, it's
What
the
is-
subway.
You got to call it the Tube.
It's called the
Call
Tube.
it the Tube.
All right.
You can eat on the floors on the thing is impeccably clean.
Yeah.
The Tube. And then what's the one called
You know what
in
though?
Germany?
I'm going to chime in here. I think this is an easy thing to get on New York's case about. I think people like to complain about how dirty it is, how smelly, all that stuff. I'm going to say this. I think first of all, one of the reasons it is what it is because it is the city it is. It's as diverse, it's as crazy, as chaotic. People are thrown in. And I'll say this. I think the beauty of New York's downsides, all the dirt and all that stuff, is I think it's actually good because it kind of filters out people. If you're coming to New York and you're like, nah, it's too dirty for me to live there, then get out of here. Go back to Oklahoma. Good riddance. If you can't put up with this stuff to live here and do what you got to do, then we don't need you here. You're just going to drag everything down. The people who put up with that stuff are the people who have something to do here. And as soon as you don't have something to do here, then yeah, of course you're going to be like, this place sucks. I'm out of here. But as long as you have something that New York helps you get along with, you're willing to put up with that stuff. And if you're not willing to put up with that stuff, then you're in the way. Get out. That's how I see it. I think it's actually like a self-filtering system that New York has. It's the weather that sucks. It's dirty. It's all this stuff. And I think in a way, it keeps it honest. That's my opinion.
I agree with everything except for that's why the subways are dirty.
No, that's not why they're dirty. I'm saying that
the pension plans.
No. I'm not saying
makes them dirty.
No, I'm not saying that's why they're dirty.
Okay.
I'm saying that it almost needs to be dirty. It almost like I think that's part of New York. Like you can't separate the two.
No, it's dirty because they can't afford.
Yeah, there's a lot of things wrong. Don't get me wrong. I think that part of it though is that that's my point is that it is New York. That is New York. The same way, part of Stockholm is that it's clean. Part of New York is that it's dirty, and I don't think there's any way around it. Also, I think it's going to be difficult to ever police it because it is as crazy and diverse and whatever.
That could be the new slogan. New York, it is dirty, but it's expensive.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But you know what the funny thing is go to Hudson Yards if you want clean, and tell me how much you like that. It sucks. It's a sterile,
it's
a subdivision.
Sure.
So really, is that what you want? Because I don't think it is. I think the reason it's clean is because it's so un-New York. The rest of New York is diverse. It's got people who are this, that, and the other, different socioeconomic levels, all this stuff, and so it's going to be chaotic. It's going to be a little dirty. But you go to somewhere it's clean, it's curated, it's sterile. Then if that's what you want, go to Disney World. Or
I agree with everything you're saying, besides the aspect of fear. I can handle all
I'm not saying that the city needs to be dangerous or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but I think it needs to be addressed as it is. If you're going to make it safe, you're going to make it clean. You got to make it that way with everything else it has, which is the diverse groups of people, all the different people. But as soon as you take that out for the sake of cleanliness and all that, you lose New York. Example, and case in point, Hudson Yards. But
then how do you look at different timetables in New York? So like obviously they made big changes in like I don't know what we consider be like the worst time of New York's history, but like the 70s to like the 90s, there was massive changes. So like I actually knew one of Ria's old roommates. She grew up in the city and in the 80s, 90s. and she was like, man, Union Square, I missed the way it was back then because it was not like as clean, or there was like drug dealers on every corner. But she looked back and she was fond of that time, So then you look at like what changes. How do you change a city without changing it?
I think here's the thing is, people don't miss getting mugged. No one misses getting mugged. No one misses getting harassed or whatever. What they miss is the things that came along with that, which is the real diversity, which is the art, which is the cheap rents, which is all those things. There are ways to address those issues without also taking away the diversity, without also taking away the socioeconomic diversity, the cheap rents in certain places, all this stuff. It's about maintaining a balance. And I think what you're seeing in New York right now is the balance is tilted a lot to one side, the side with money, and it's
I moved when I moved to New York in 2013, I moved to the East Village, and like that was like right at a turning point in the East Village where it was becoming very national and corporate, and like there was pickets on the side of the road I was on Avenue A, protesting a 7-Eleven that was proposed there that actually went in, protesting a Starbucks that was coming in, and that was like and the citizens lost that battle, and that got brought in. So I guess to your point, I mean, I don't think anyone wants to walk around coming to a big city like this and see a Starbucks in every corner. It's not
in all fairness, I'll say this, like, yes, I agree with you. I don't like it and all that stuff, but what ends up happening is, and these people who make these policies also know it, the more the city slowly changes, the more the people who arrive to this new city see that as being New York. The people who moved into the city a year ago, 2 years ago, they come and they see a Starbucks in every corner. They're like, oh yeah, that's just New York. They're not going to fight for it the way someone like you would, or the way someone who's been here 30 years would, because to them, that is New York. When they see those things on the news or in the TV shows, and it's 7-Eleven that the characters are going to and all that, that becomes New York. It slowly changes. And then people like, as you get older, you're the old man yelling about how it used to be. And everyone's like, what's wrong with the old man Tom? This guy thinks that it used to be all small business. What is Target? Target's been here for 20 years. What's he talking about? It just it slowly starts to change, And I think there's an interesting example I read in a book. In 1982, 7-Eleven pulled out of New York because no one liked them. Everyone wanted their bodega, all that stuff. They pulled out completely. They're just like, we're done. In 2005, they opened the first 7-Eleven for the first time in years to test the waters near Madison Square Park, actually. And slowly, they've been able to say, oh, yeah, cool. And they're everywhere now. So I guess my point is that it is possible, one, but two, it's also not a God-given thing that these things have to be somewhere. There is like a possibility that people do just but what ends up happening is people's tastes can be changed. We are humans and we are conditioned a certain way. It's up to us to demand something else. But if you don't know there's anything else that exists, then
and like anything else, if the convenience outweighs the inconvenience, then it's just kind of like people.
But here's the thing: when you say convenience, you're using it in a quantifiable way. Like you're saying purchasing. Like price. Purchase price. You're using it as a way of like consistency. All these things that are quantifiable. Life isn't all quantifiable. You want community. You want to know the guy who works at your place. You want the manager. Those are things that also have value, but you can't quantify those things. But if you're using quantifiable data as your metric, then okay, then let's put a Starbucks on every corner and let's put a this and that. But that's not life, and that's not a city, especially. Cities don't thrive off of just numbers, because if it did, then New York is killing it right now with just rents that are $5,000 and all that stuff. And it's not, it's struggling with that.
Well, this year especially, I think that a lot of like even my friends who were here, but then like used the pandemic to like negotiate better, more favorable rents for themselves, and I had a few friends who even worked in real estate who worked out little deals for themselves. Were like, I know this bubble's gonna burst. Got 2-year leases on places in 2020 or maybe early 2021, but now those are expiring. And people are being there's a interesting tide that's coming through the city now. Like people who are been here for a long time who are leaving, and then new people who are coming in. And like even stores, it's pretty funny. Like in the East Village, when they put the Target in my neighborhood, like there is this notion of like we have to kind of play ball with it being in New York. And like I remember they put like a big mural of like
it was ridiculous. Yeah, and they paid a bunch of like street performers and stuff to make it seem like it was like a block party or something.
But at the end of the day, it's still Target.
Yeah.
And I did buy some pants there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you seen the 7-Eleven on West 3rd in the Village across from the cellar? That's pretty New York. I mean, it is a 7-Eleven, but it's I feel like every time I walk in there, it's 1984, and I'm going to get shivved.
Yeah, but it's not. But I don't think that's the only thing that you should gauge it being New York by. I think at the end of the day, it's not New York because all the profits and everything leave New York. The people who work there are transient. The manager, all that stuff is transient.
Okay. I was just talking about vibe. I was just talking about vibe.
Listen, don't get me started to move this thing and flip that. No, but I guess what's interesting though, and you're right. Like there is there is that element of it. But I guess my point is that I think it's hard to. I guess it's frustrating because there's nothing. You feel like there's nothing you could do about it, and to a certain extent, there isn't. I mean, you have the big guy versus the little guy at the end of the day, and they just push you around.
It's You Got Mail, the movie You Got Mail.
It is You Got Mail
every day.
It is You Got Mail. You're right.
To change, the other thing that I was thinking about as far as like New York nationally or internationally, everyone thinks of New York food-wise for pizza. I think would be number one. I think people think about New York for hot dogs, and I think that ship has long sailed.
Well, you're also missing a big one: bagels.
Bagels. I think bagels lives up to the hype. I think
so
people
too.
come, even if you go to a shit like bodega or shit meaning like just your everyday bodega, you're going to get a great quality bagel experience. I think in the city, pizza wise, big gap.
I mean, I don't know. I think New York pizza, man. I mean, even if you get like $1 slice or something, that's still pretty good compared to like places all over the country. Yeah. I will say this though, it's harder to go other cities and find good bagels than it is to go to other cities and find decent pizza. Like it's just that's when I leave New York. When I leave New York to go other places, I know that I'm not gonna be able to find a bagel as good.
Most people are getting bagels from like Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah,
like
that's what
frozen.
I mean. Like if you go to another city, you're like, well, there's a good pizzeria. This place where you go and it's like, oh, that's pretty good. There's no such thing as like bagel places that are like, oh yeah, there's a pretty good bagel place in St. Petersburg, Florida. It's just not a thing.
I think bagels are cultural.
Yeah, they are
more than we think about it as because we live here. Pizza's just a national.
But pizza didn't start that way. That's an interesting thing. Pizza actually, at least in the United States, it started here in New York. Like it kind of just branched out from New York. All the Italians and stuff that were coming here, and it became big throughout the 1900s. Like in the second half of the 1900s, it became this international thing, partly because of the franchises and stuff, which is another side of that coin. They beamed it all out of all over the world. But yeah, it is a cult. It's interesting to think of pizza as a cultural food because that's kind of what it was. Like in the first half of the 1900s, it was like this Italian dish. It's like
did you see that? You see that video that has been viral now on TikTok or Instagram? But it's Frank Sinatra describing what a pizza is.
No.
Let me see if I can find it. Can you see if you can find it?
Young Jamie.
No, I'd look for it, but
that was a little Rogan reference.
Yeah. It's a 10-second clip, and it's not even from that long ago. I think it's from the 50s. It's black and white clip, but he's like describing a pizza pie like you'd be a toddler. He's like a pizza pie, which is a sort of pie.
Yeah.
It's got tomatoes and it's really, it's real fantastic.
Take a risk.
No,
that ain't it.
That's not it. I think that was just a guy named Frank. But that wasn't even that long ago. It was like the 50s, I think, and they were describing pizza like it was this like very
think about it.
exotic thing.
Yeah, I mean, Domino's, Pizza Hut, they didn't open until the early 60s. And that's around the same time that like freezer pizza was invented. Before that, people in St. Petersburg, Florida didn't know what pizza was. People in San Diego, no one knew what pizza was. It was a thing that was really kind of New York and Italy. And not even all of Italy, southern Italy. Like it started in Naples and really kind of slowly trickled out. But it wasn't really a thing like that. Then you get it on the Ninja Turtles. You get it all over the TV and all these kids at their TV. Gets all over.
The two movies that I watch that always make me want to get pizza. One is Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, of course.
Second one is Home Alone.
Home Alone.
I watch Home Alone and I'm always like a large cheese pizza just for me.
That's right.
Ninja Turtles. That was a sponsored promotion.
Was it really?
Absolutely.
Domino's?
Domino's paid.
Domino's
or
was in it?
Pizza Hut. Yeah,
was it Pizza Hut?
Domino's,
I think it was Domino's,
Okay.
but they bought that and they actually wrote it in for Domino's.
For the movie.
It was
I
was
that.
a pure product placement.
I didn't know
But
that.
the original Ninja Turtles movie, which is great. Or maybe it was Secret of the Ooze. But
Secret of the Ooze is one where the kid, is the pizza delivery guy.
And he was Original Ray's. He worked at Original Ray's.
Oh, okay.
I watched that recently, which
that
is
was
not
the name
that
of the
great.
company.
Original Ray's Pizza, which is Ray's, Original Ray's,
right.
First Original, Ray's
a lot of
Original,
them,
First Original.
Like
now it's Prince Street. That's the original location. Yeah.
Prince Street Pizza was the Original Ray's.
That's where the actual Ray's was. Yeah.
Prince Street Pizza is very good. I like it.
Sure.
You work for Scott's Pizza Tours. You should know some of this stuff. Huh?
It's good, but their chef moved on, and
Chef's out?
he went to East Village Square.
Oh, really?
Village Square Pizza.
Village Square Pizza?
And that's the kind of what you remember.
I love
as
Village
Prince.
Square Pizza. I was just talking
Because
highly
it
of
was
it
Prince-
yesterday.
because it's
I didn't
Prince
know
Street
that.
Pizza,
I
yeah.
didn't know that. That's interesting. I have to check it out. I've never been to Village Square.
Wow, I got Tom on a New York fact. I'm gonna use it as a credit now.
Nice. That's great.
Village Square Pizza has the best grandma slice in New York.
Really? I have to check it out.
Very garlicky, delicious.
Oh, okay. My favorite slice, though, I don't know if you agree with me, is the Nonna Maria at Bleecker Street Pizza. I love that slice. I think it's so good.
Yeah, I've never
Bleecker
had it. I'll
Street
give it a
Pizza
shot.
on
Never had it. The
No.
Bleecker Street Pizza on the corner of Bleecker and 7th.
I
Yeah.
don't. Personally,
Mhm.
I think that Bleecker Street is overrated. and
That's
I
the.
don't
But you know what? Whenever I go there, I have to get the Nonna Maria slice. That's the one that you have to get.
They
That
don't.
really
I don't
is-
think they clean their ovens properly.
Really?
It's all legend.
You got them on a oven cleaning?
Well,
I've never even
so
thought
it-
about that.
so
How do you get your head in
they-
the oven to see the
bo-
cleaning
I can
process?
taste it.
Oh,
I
interesting.
can taste
You got the
it.
crumbs on the
It's little
bottom?
crumbs. It's a little overcooked. It's also somehow undercooked. It's,
Interesting.
I just always thought it was a bit overrated. I've eaten it at almost every.
I will
pizza
say
shop
that
in New
is
York.
the slice. That's the only slice I get there
I'll have to
because
check it.
I definitely will get. I think like I love like Pizza Suprema's cheese slice.
Suprema's
is so good.
great.
And there's other slices too, but their Nonna Maria is my favorite overall slice. Period. I don't know. I just love it. I think it's so good.
You been to
did,
Lindustry?
Linden Street?
Lindustry?
Oh,
in
you've been
Brooklyn?
talking about this.
No. Okay, I'll
Very good.
try it.
It's in my opinion, the greatest slice in America.
Yo, speaking of pizza, you guys want to hear an interesting fact?
Hit
The
me.
margarita pizza. You know the story?
I do.
Oh,
You know the margarita, the Queen Margarita?
Yeah.
This is such a cool story. So anyways, the margarita pizza is named that because in the 1889, Queen Margarita, who was the queen of the new unified Italy, under the second, I guess, king, went down to Naples to try the pizza, and they gave her 3 different pizzas, and she liked that one the best, so they renamed it the margarita pizza.
I did not know that.
The basil, tomato, and mozzarella. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Did she also get into cocktails? Was that named after her?
Yeah, exactly. That's what she got wasted on. Is that drink?
She's hammered.
Yeah.
That would be a nice, she comes down there with some tequila and lime juice, and it's like, I need a snack, and then eats that. Margarita on margarita.
And there's, I think, now 4 pizzerias in Naples that claim that they're the
Yeah.
ones that served her.
Well, there's the
pizza.
one, I guess, it's the Brandy. It's called Brandy, and it's the oldest. It's like been there forever. They're the one. They have a plaque and everything outside and all that stuff and the whole thing.
We played.
Same thing as reviews. You can just make a plaque.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's true.
I'll
That's
make
You
a
can't
plaque
think of it.
right now. It's
That's
the greatest podcast studio in New York. I'll
That's
do
true,
that.
though. That's
you
actually
should, man.
true.
That's what you guys are missing.
We did a show in Connecticut on Friday. We got Frank Pepe's delivered.
Ah, sure, the
to
famous. Yeah,
and
wasn't good.
does not hold up. I don't like saying bad things about pizza spots, but it was not good.
Okay.
It was not good. But I feel like there is some pizza, to give it benefit of the doubt, there is some pizza that travels well. Like I think a classic New York slice, for example, like you get Joe's Pizza in the city, you could take it, an hour later, you have it cold, hot,
Yeah.
the next day, whatever it may be, Joe's Pizza will always be good.
Yeah.
It's classic New York style
Yeah.
pizza.
Coal fire is a hard time to transfer.
This
It draws too much moisture, so it gets a little bit more hard, rockier. It just
that's
doesn't really.
Frank Pepe's Pizza, an hour later, first of all, it was cut into long rectangle slices, almost like you're back in school or something. And an hour later, it was like eating concrete
Well, did you get
briquettes.
the clam pie and you try to do it late? Because that's
No.
the problem. It's a cheese based.
This was just a regular cheese pizza, which I didn't put the order in. I would have got the clam pie, but I think that would have been even worse. I mean, you
Clam
don't have
pie. Is that like their famous?
that's their famous
Oh
pizza.
wow, that sounds
it's a clam.
awful.
I really wanted to like it, but
I've had Frank
unfortunately,
Pepe's
it was not
several times in several locations, and it worked, but it's always been at the spot.
good. You got to get it at those spots.
I had it at a casino.
Oh, yeah.
in, Connecticut.
Mohegan Sun.
Mohegan Sun. It was incredible. I was blown away at how good it was.
But and to circle back to this other idea, I feel like
So
New York,
hungry right now. I can't.
Yeah,
even
I know.
talk.
New
Sounds
York
good.
owns it with bagels. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
It owns it with pizza for sure. But then the third is like when people come from out of town, they're like, they think of New York City hot dogs, and I don't think that there's any. Like we're in Midtown right now. I couldn't drive around for 30 minutes and find a hot dog unless you go to Central Park or something.
Well,
I
hot
think
dog-
people think that there's hot dogs in every corner.
Well, there kind of are lots of hot dogs. I mean, they're not always great, but I think it's more just like identifying with there's hot dogs, everywhere.
But wouldn't you think? I thought when I moved
that
here
there would
that
be
there would be a hot dog cart on every corner.
well, there are hot dog carts all over. I see them everywhere. I don't know if they're all good, the famous
Central Park has them.
but they're all over the city. You go walk around like Midtown. There are hot dog carts everywhere. I know. I always stop and get them every now and then. A lot of times I regret it. I regret it afterwards. But I do stop and get them a lot of times at the carts. They don't have a lot of great like that. I love the papaya place, like Gray's papaya dog.
Yeah.
There was a few papayas. A couple of them closed. And then you have like Criff Dogs. I guess people go to Criff Dogs.
Criff Dog in East
That's like
Village.
a $10 hot dog.
Those are not cheap. Yeah,
no.
but I'm talking about if you want something that isn't the carts is what I mean. But then you have the carts. It's just like to just get a snack and you scarf it down. You're like, cool. I just had a not quite a meal, not quite a snack. It's a good little middle way.
It's the least ubiquitous out of the food that people think they're gonna find here.
Maybe.
And then you don't find any Italian sausages. Like like we go to a ball game or something. You got like the peppers, onions guy.
Right.
Doesn't exist. I think, guys, business. Okay. I think if there was, you got a permit and you were doing peppers, onions, and sausage like at a ball game, you would just clean up here.
Selling peppers, and onions, and
like
sausage?
a sausage with peppers and onions. It just doesn't. It's not there.
Well, I'm not a big fan of onions, so you
Not
have
a
to
big
find
fan of
yourself a new
onions.
partner.
What did an onion do to you?
I don't know. I just think onions are kind of gross. I don't like eating them. I guess when you mix them in with, like, for example,
What else would you do
What do you
with
do
it?
with them?
Well, I'm saying, like,
What are you doing with onions?
I like to play catch with them. No, I know. I mean, like, you cut it up and you put it in rice or something. You cook the rice with onions in it, so you give a little bit of the flavor.
You don't like that?
I don't like eating like the big chunks of onion. I don't like having big chunks.
Where would you have a bigger chunk of
I'm
onion?
saying, like, when you have like for example, if they give me a chicken
You
breast,
turn into Luigi all of a sudden? Where would you eat a bigger chunk of onion?
Where would you eat a chunk
What
of
are you doing with
onion?
these onions? I'm just trying to picture what you must have had a bad experience.
No, I don't know. I just don't like the. I don't like the. It's like really
So like,
stinky. And
are you just completely repulsed by French onion soup? I think the French onion soup is the king of soups.
Okay. No, I would disagree.
Have
with
you
that.
had the Palermo slice at Ben's in Soho?
No.
You got to get that one.
Okay. Is that onions?
It's like really heavily cooked down onion with breadcrumb and little anchovy.
He just said he doesn't like onions.
I'm trying to find a thing that he might like with onions.
He's
Because
like,
it's
you don't. Oh, you don't
delicious.
like onions? Let me get you the most
This
onion slice
cooked
you can
down
possibly think.
But
thing.
it's an ingredient. It's not. It's not like a topping.
Right.
So you don't want like chunks of onion in your salad.
I don't like raw onions. I'll give you
No,
that.
no.
I take the onions out of a salad. Red onion, I'll
It's tough.
eat around it.
It's tough. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
It
crazy.
sticks with you for a little bit. What's your top soup then? French onion soup.
I mean, look, I'm gonna sound like I think does chili count as a soup? I think chicken noodle soup is
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
chicken noodle soup. Chili, I think those are really good. Aside from those, I'm not really
let's try to do a top 5. I want to end the podcast with a couple of top 5s,
okay.
and we'll see if we can get them correctly. We'll try to go. We'll go quickly through. We'll try to bang out to see if we can.
Wait, what
guess
do you
the
mean
top
you're
5.
quizzing what the top 5 things of something are?
Oh,
does
let's
this
start
work?
with let's start with this, Mike. Let's do the
Do you
top
wanna do the top
5
5 soups?
top 5 most popular soups in America.
Okay,
Let's
you
see
got
if
This
we
is
can
like
get
a
that
Family
right.
Feud.
Sure.
Okay.
That's what Ethan said last week. I said it was not Family Feud. I said it's because Family Feud
It's
is
all
polling 100 people.
Yeah, that's true.
This is, I think,
Well, this is just polling
guessing,
however many people are in the thing.
or it could be a judgment call. I wonder, is this like someone's opinion, or is this based on sales?
You guys got to go. You guys make this consistent. Which top 5 is it? Like
Yeah,
top
we have
5
to- we
from
have to
like
make
the
sure-
Guinness Book of Records or something. Like where are you guys going?
Guinness
from
Book of World Records
You know?
for soup.
But what
I
are you
would
guys?
buy
What
that
are you guys
book.
using as the arbiter? Who like is this like our grandmas or who is this? That we're
I
asking.
was thinking about sales. Most
Oh,
popular
okay,
meaning
sales.
like
Okay,
most
okay.
consumed.
Okay.
Top 5 most consumed soups in America. And so this would not be an opinion, if it's possible, if it's up.
So you want to do soups? That's where we want to go.
Oh,
Soups?
we just talk about, or I mean, do you want to do
Well, what
top
do you
5?
think What do you think the national soup of America is? I found
think-
that
all right, Tom, you hit the
the
first
actual
one.
national soup. Like there's an actual national soup.
there's a national soup.
I gotta
I
guess.
don't know. Clam chowder. Is it New-
Wow.
Did you get that right?
Nailed it.
Yeah.
I was
that
gonna
makes
say a
sense.
chowder
Yeah.
too because of it's like New England.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people out there were thinking chicken noodles.
No, I could see it.
Do
being
we have a
culture.
top 5 list or no?
So
we can
yeah, I
move
have,
to
a
our
top,
next-
I have a top 5 list from Cooking Chew.
Okay.
Is
What-
giving me the top 25. So we'll do the number. We'll go
1 through 5.
the top 25 soups?
in America.
I
And
couldn't
I
name
think this
you
is
10
based
soups.
on
Is it opinion based or do you think it's
it's who knows.
okay? All right. Well,
But I'll tell you right now, some of these I've
Never heard of.
yeah.
all right.
This is a
Top
tough
5
one.
soups in America as according to the Fresh Towels podcast.
Okay, is the New England clam chowder on the top?
It is not.
Okay, chicken noodle.
It is not.
Tomato soup.
Nope.
What?
Oh wait, sorry. Tomato soup is number 5. Sorry.
Okay.
Tomato soup.
Wow. Okay, there's 5 things. I couldn't read that.
All right.
French onion.
Nope.
I don't really know that many soups.
Turns out.
Yeah,
Pho.
No.
Ramen.
Nope. I don't understand this
Beef,
list.
barley.
Beef. Just
Beef
beef
soup?
soup. No. Do you want
Is
to
it?
hear them?
Yeah, sure.
Because
let's
you're
hear 'em.
not
Let's hear
even
'em.
close.
Yeah, we're not going to.
Number 4,
Uh-huh.
Hawaiian noodle soup.
That's made up. This is a bullshit list.
Number
Oh,
3,
God.
homemade chicken tortilla soup. Number 2,
That sounds
salmon chowder, which I've never heard
This
of.
literally does not
The
exist.
chicken
This is a-
tortilla sounds good, though. I will say that.
Number 1, New Orleans gumbo. Gumbo's
That's the number one. I think Suki
According
wrote
to-
this on TripAdvisor. That was definitely Suki
Yeah.
who made this up once again.
Just
She came
trolling
home
the
from the
number
Eiffel
25.
Tower
Yeah.
and she made up this list. Hawaiian salmon soup.
All right, let's try it
What
again.
was it? Hawaiian soup.
Yeah.
All right, so here's a better list that
Hawaii is like tiny.
So number 5, clam chowder. Number 4, potato soup. Number 3, chicken noodle.
So we would have got that.
Yeah, and then tomato.
Tomatoes number
Tomato
one.
is number
Tomato's
one.
number 1,
Interesting.
according to the travel.
I agree with that
Yeah.
list.
And then
more.
chili is the 5th one.
Let's try to do one more top 5 before we get out of
Do you
here.
want to do the college one?
Sure.
Top
What's-
colleges?
I think
So we have two different lists.
Okay.
We have the top 5 colleges according to wallet friendliness, social environment, academic, and economic.
Uh-huh.
And then we have the top 5 party schools.
Oh,
All right, so we'll do the top 5 schools.
And then let's see what if there's any overlap.
Okay, top 5 schools in America. I'm going to say University of Michigan.
Yeah, that sounds all right.
Number 2, University of Michigan.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, but number 2 on which one of those lists?
This is the
Top
economics, wallet stuff, and then not the party one. So this is just
Oh, okay.
like
Top schools
gotcha.
in America.
So
Top-
top schools
top-
of any schools.
So this is
or just
overall
public schools?
wellness.
in America for overall.
Oh, gotcha,
everything.
gotcha.
Money,
Okay.
social, academic, and
And it's just,
economic.
is it public or private? Everything?
Sure.
Okay.
Doesn't say anything.
Oh.
Doesn't have anything different.
All right. Dang.
But hey, lean public.
Yeah, I was about to say it was probably the best value.
Yeah.
Pay 80,000.
Yeah. The first thing is the economics.
Okay.
so-
I don't know. UCLA.
No.
University of Texas.
University of Texas is number 1.
Austin.
buddy.
Wow. Nice
Wow,
work.
I'm crushing. I got 1 and 2 so far.
Yeah, and there's a couple here, and then the rest of them. If you don't get them, I'm going to be upset.
Okay.
Really? They're obvious?
No,
Yeah.
they're obvious for Jiggy though.
Oh.
Okay.
What was that?
University of Florida.
It was Food University.
Yeah, I don't understand. What
A Subway College. What'd you say?
University of Florida.
University of Florida. Number
Dude,
4.
I got 3 out of
Hey.
5.
Number 4.
That's my alma mater, baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
say yes like I knew that. I
yeah,
didn't.
so it's Florida, it's Michigan, we have
Oh,
Michigan,
wait, you
Texas?
should both know these.
Texas, and Texas.
Yeah.
Man, this is tough.
I got another guess right at the top of the dome.
Go
Go
for
for it.
University of Miami.
No.
Yeah.
That's number 9. But
Is
Okay.
it really? That's a
Lots of wellness down there. It's Miami.
Georgia? Ohio State?
no.
Oh, Ohio State's a good guess. Florida State.
No.
No. But you're very warm.
University of Tampa.
Stay in Florida. Tampa.
University of South
Tampa's
Florida.
number 5.
USF.
USF.
Yep. And then number 3.
USF?
No.
UCF?
Rollins College.
Orlando.
UCF.
UCF.
UCF, Rollins. It's going by cities, but yeah.
Wow.
Ah,
Yeah.
I had
Interesting.
so much wellness.
Wow.
Yeah, you were there. Now let's switch to the party schools.
All right. This is where it's fun.
Arizona State.
a great guess.
Arizona State is not on
What?
the top 5. This is 2023 by
Okay.
Niche. University-
Ohio State.
Ohio State is not on the list.
Florida.
University of Florida, not on the list, but you're close.
Florida
FSU.
State.
Florida State,
Yeah, Florida State's
number
a bigger-
3.
Hate to admit it, they were a bigger party school than
Yeah, Rollins College. Just got to keep guessing my own.
us. Rollins College.
We were voted
Hillsborough Community College. Let me see.
top party schools. Arizona State wasn't on it.
Arizona State is not in the
Texas.
top 5.
Texas. UT Austin?
Nope.
Oh.
Harvard.
Yeah.
It's number 1,000.
Penn State.
Nope. Think what party cities are not necessarily known for.
Oh,
their
UNLV.
schools. No, but that's a great guess.
Oh, I see what you're saying. What party cities?
So here, I'll give you the past 5. Number 6 is Wisconsin.
Okay.
Number 7 is UGA. Number 8 is Syracuse. Number 9 is USC. So it just kind of it spans the. I don't know if that helped or hurt.
Number 1 party school. We haven't guessed the number 1 yet.
No. It's gonna be a tough one though.
Is it tough?
UC Santa Barbara.
Ah,
That's
What?
not one you would have guessed.
That's not
no,
a party
California
school,
schools
is
are
it?
big.
According to niche.com, buddy.
I thought Santa Barbara was kind of posh, like not party school.
But I
feel
think
like
it's
all
a ton of money.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of. I mean, those LA people are up there.
Yeah.
Those LA
Alright,
kids, they're just partying all the time.
Partying all the
they're
time.
just wearing their skateboard
Eddie
shoes
Murphy in
and-
it. Okay, so we got UC Santa Barbara #1. We guessed another one on the list, didn't we?
You were saying that it was an obvious city choice? Like
Oh, no,
a city?
FSU we got.
You got that one. Number 2.
University of Atlantic City.
I said it. It's the number is also kind of in the name.
The numbers in the name.
Number 2.
Tucson.
Arizona Tucson.
Toucan.
Tulane.
Oh,
Tulane.
Oh, New
Oh,
Orleans.
New
New
Orleans.
Orleans,
yeah,
Party
right.
city. Yeah.
Does number 4 have the title in it too?
Yes.
Fort Worth University.
You want to hear number 4?
Yeah.
University of Alabama.
Really?
I've
Okay,
I've been
Bama
to
parties.
University of
They
Alabama.
party
That
down
place,
there.
Yeah,
they
I think
party.
all the SEC schools are pretty
Different.
much like that.
And then number 5 is Howard in DC. Yeah.
DC.
Party schools.
Yeah.
Well, all the SEC schools are all huge party schools based around
Oh,
football.
man, unbelievable.
Nuts.
Where's
didn't-
Rollins College?
It's in Florida.
Not listed?
It's definitely not in there. Miami was 15. Ohio was 14. University of Mississippi 13. Yeah, Penn State number 12 didn't hit the top 10s, top 5s. But yeah, there you go. And no overlap, by the way.
None.
None over.
University of Florida. University of Florida was overlap.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Oh, I guess you're right.
University
Yeah,
of Florida.
one.
Thank
We
you.
got one.
That is a
Thank
party
you very
school.
much. We were balanced individuals at the University of Florida.
I went to the University of Florida for one day. I went to watch UCF play University of Florida in football. This was in 2010 in 2007 when like UCF was really bad at football.
Yeah.
They lost to UF. It was like 50 something to
Yeah.
nothing. Like they couldn't even score a point. And that night we all stayed there. My friend Nathan got so drunk that he took a shit in the dryer and put it on tumble. And I never went back.
Wow.
How do you shit in the dryer?
He was so drunk he thought it was the bathroom, and
Yeah,
then we
but
woke up
when
the
he
next
sat
day.
on it, I guess it's when it opened from the top.
yeah.
You have to
He
sit
sat
in
on
it.
Right.
If I took a dump in a dryer, I'm not getting out. There's just
Yeah.
impossible. I
Yeah.
would have had to wedge myself in there to the
And
point
then
of no return.
after,
Wait,
instead of
that's-
flushing, he put the dryer on.
You know what's crazy? I'm not hungry anymore.
I guess with that, we'll wrap up the episode. Thanks for tuning in to episode 9. Big thanks to our guest, Tom Delgado. And where can they find you on the YouTubes?
Tom DNYC on the YouTubes and on the old IG that I posted last time a month ago, so I'm not very good on those things, but that's where you can get me.
Okay, great. Big thanks to our producer, Big Mike. We'll be back next week with another episode. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the page because we have hundreds of millions of people, but they're not subscribing. That's the thing.
They gotta subscribe.
You have to subscribe or else, you don't get notified of the content. Doesn't matter how many views you get. You got to subscribe to it.
Yeah.
So subscribe so we can try to funnel you down to subscribe to the
Can
channel.
we try to get? I know I bust your chops about how you pronounce things.
Uh-huh.
Can you say that word again?
What? Subscribe?
You're missing a whole letter.
How do you say?
Really? Say it again.
Subscribe.
Subscribe.
There's a B in there, man.
Yeah.
Dude,
I heard you say it 42 times today, and I'm like,
Subscribe.
there's no way you're saying
Subscribe?
subscribe.
Wow. So I never heard anyone
I'm
say.
I'm from Boston.
Oh, yeah, that's
my
why.
excuse
He's from
for everything.
Rollins College. Went to
Rollins College, the #1 party school. What do you think we learned anything there?
Number 50 phonetically pronouncing out of 50.
Subscribe.
350th.
We're not done until you say it right.
Subscribe.
Subscribe.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
So make sure when you watch and you subscribe.
There you go.
You feel
God.
silly saying it.
We should just turn the whole podcast into teaching me how to speak English.
Well, we definitely just found a clip.
Yeah. There you go. Subscribe.
Make sure you subscribe to the channel. God damn it. Another fucking clip of me not speaking right.
Dang.
Thank you guys
Finding your niche.
for tuning in. Yeah, I'm an idiot. That's my niche.